Okay, so The Vanished is a complete mess, but it's worth sticking with it because of the ending. I'm not going to divulge what that ending is. I'm going to not give any spoilers in this, but I have to say that this film really went off the rails at one point, but managed to bring itself back at the end and made it kind of worthwhile and also taught me something. This film was released last year in 2020 and is directed and written by Peter Facinelli and stars Heche and Thomas Jane and Jason Patric. I have to say the acting is very good, so I'll get all the positives out of the way. The acting is good. The locations, the scenery, absolutely beautiful. There's some pretty decent editing. There are a few dreams incorporated into this, which work really well. They're not always obvious. So I think there's a nice element of surprise. But from the very beginning, things start to go weird. So this couple are on a camping trip with their daughter and their dog. And their 10-year-old daughter goes missing pretty quickly. Gets to the point quite quickly and she goes missing. And first I thought that was a really great thing. I thought, she's gone missing. We're getting to the story really, really quickly. But once the film finished, in hindsight, I really thought we needed more time. More time to get to know this child and her parents' relationship with her. So that kind of backfired. And once she goes missing, obviously the parents are frantic, but the most ludicrous things start to happen. They start causing all kinds of really weird situations, and I just thought none of this is necessary. It really is over the top and takes away from the seriousness of it by just making it quite ludicrous. It's almost a farce. It's just absolutely ridiculous. We do have a couple of suspects, and I do think that, there's a good amount of suspects. It's never clear who we're supposed to be judging or whether we think the daughter has been kidnapped or, if we think she's been abducted or murdered or anything. It's never obvious. We don't know. And obviously I'm not going to say. But it's just absolutely insane. And the bulk of this, from after the first kind of 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, to right at the end, it's just ridiculous. And the characters are just absolutely... Their behaviour is very unrealistic. And even when you realise what happens, it's still unrealistic. It's over the top. It's unnecessary. Too many characters get in their way. And it's just... It's like they're trying to throw everything at this to make it surprising. But the only thing that was surprising was how absolutely ridiculous the majority of this was. However, when we get to the end and we find out what's actually happened, I was very pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting that. I hadn't heard of that. I am now very interested in learning more about that. So I have to thank the film for introducing me to this. There are certain aspects that make sense in hindsight, but I feel like we should have got more time with the daughter for it to make more sense and for us to kind of understand it more. There are still things that just were brushed over and it just didn't work very well. So there were certain things that worked fine, there were certain things that didn't. What I did like was the parents had different reactions, and one of them was clearly more troubled by this than the other and more affected mentally than the other, and I think that gave us a good understanding in hindsight. So hopefully what I'm saying will make some sense, but you really need to watch it, and I do think you should watch it because the ending made it worthwhile. And it could have been so much better. It could have been amazing. It could have been one of the best films I'd ever seen if they just hadn't gone completely insane with the parents' actions and what happened. It could have been more sensitive, but it wasn't. It was just a playground of insanity. Honestly, they could have done so much better, and I'm really disappointed that they didn't. But they did, revive the credit back at the end. I would recommend it. Give it a go. It's currently on Netflix. It's only an hour and a half. It's worth watching, but just be warned that you might have to persevere quite a bit to get to that sweet ending.